This is the worst video game I have ever played in my entire life. It is awful. Flat out awful. There is so much wrong with this game, and it all begins with the title screen. It is a poorly digitalized screen with every MLB team logo on it, transcending away until a Tim Lincecum cutout appears. That's it. There's no music or collage of great plays like every other game has. 2K Sports didn't even put any effort into their title screen. Right away, that's a bad sign. And to add insult to injury, you can't skip it. Every time you start this game up, you have to watch it over and over again. Once you start up the game, you have to create a profile. It won't let you play unless you do so. This is a pointless task. Creating a profile for a game should be optional, but here they force you to do it. Think about it. If I want to play a quick game of baseball against my friend, I don't want to have to scroll through the profiles to do so. No, I should go straight to the main menu and pick out the teams and whatnot. The only reason the profiles exist in the first place is to categorize your favorite team, and they're not password protected or anything, so anyone can access it. So what's the point? The rosters are totally out of date, and I mean totally out of date. Coaches who were let go are still with their existing teams. Random guys are placed in the free agent market, and the minor leagues aren't even accurate. This game boasts the most realistic baseball experience, but they can't even get the teams right. It doesn't take long to organize a group of players to their rightful teams. This was just plain laziness. Now we get to a game. The first screen is the inside of the park, and it's full of people walking about. But the people look like decaying zombies, not fans. The color of their skin is dark gray, and their fingers are sewn together, and almost every one of them wears a home jersey. I've been to a major league game. I've seen countless on TV, and I have never seen so many people wearing home jerseys. How about that? There hasn't even been a pitch thrown, and there are already too many problems with this game. Pitching in this game is like standing in front of a gigantic bullseye with a gun. It's way too easy to get batters out. The fatigue level doesn't help in any way because the ball always ends up in the spot you want. Pitching dominates too much. Even relatively bad pitchers can make a quality start. Also, the breaking ball pointer is messed up. If the catcher calls for a slider inside to a right-handed batter, your first instinct is that that's where the ball will end up, because that's how it is in other baseball games. So you throw the slider in that spot, and guess what? You hit the batter. That's right. The indicator only tells you where the ball breaks. It doesn't tell you where it ends up, so you have to guess for yourself. And to add insult to injury, once you make a mistake like that, your pitcher gets a warning. One more move like that, and he's ejected. The hitting in this game is so messed up. Every batter has a contact rating and power rating depending on whether or not you want the guy at bat to swing hard or aim for a hit. However, the hitting locator in the batter's box for the hitters is the same size, so those ratings don't matter a bit. What's worse is that you can only pick 9 areas in the strike zone to swing at. You can't move the locator in between, so if the ball is thrown in that area, it's hard to make out where the locator should be. Oh, and that's even if you manage to hit the ball. There's hardly any change in size from when the ball leaves the pitcher's hand to when it reaches home plate. That means you can't tell if the pitch you're getting is a fastball or a changeup, and that doesn't help one bit since there are also curves, sliders, screwballs, slurves, you name it. Your only guess is to pick a random spot in the zone and hope the ball is there, straight. And if it looks like it might go out of the strike zone, you better be right. Statistically, that means more than once every 9 at-bats, you'll make contact. Realistic baseball. Yep. But wait, it gets worse. The opposing pitchers don't walk anybody, even if they're fatigued. They'll throw a couple out of the strike zone from time to time, but they'll always throw 90% strikes. Not only does that mean you have to suffer through constant strike barrages not knowing when the first ball appears, but the opposing bullpen doesn't get used. The in-game voices don't make things better. The commentators are boring and never have anything good to say except the same old reused lines. The audience make random stupid sounds during the game that no one in their right minds would say. Also, the announcers always wait until the commentators stop talking before they announce someone's name, instead of during their speech. Most of the time, by the time he gets to speak, the said player has already taken a few pitches, sometimes made contact. What really makes this game worse is the glitches, which I found on YouTube soon after I purchased this game and experienced them for myself. There are things like sliding past the base, running through the wall, no friction when the ball hits the ground, and even the ball going through the bat during a swing. But my personal favorite is when a New York Met hits a home run, the home run apple appears in a crowd of people instead of over the center field fence where it belongs. I honestly couldn't contain my laughter after seeing that. And if you think that's everything, you're wrong. The career and franchise mode are downright awful. The first issue is the absence of spring training, which is important for deciding which players to make the team and which ones don't. Other games have spring training, so why doesn't this one? Also, you have to go with the rosters the game chooses or adjust them to your will, and that takes up a lot of time. You can change the lineups and positions, but the game won't permanently adapt the players to the positions you choose. The draft, which is usually in June, is pushed back to the end of the season. That was a stupid move, because the players that are drafted also have to take part in the Futures game that takes place during the All-Star break of the same year. Well, the game sure fixed that problem. There is no Futures game. Why is there no Futures game? Were they really this lazy? And speaking of the All-Star break, the All-Star game is messed up. It doesn't play like a real All-Star game where the players are switched out every couple of innings. The same position players stay in the lineup all throughout the game except for the pitcher, who never gets switched until he runs into trouble, which is hardly ever an issue because pitching dominates so much. What were they on when they made this? The off-season is a pain. Once you've signed all your free agents and made your trades, you have to keep selecting next day over and over again until all the other teams are done. What's the point? It's stupid, frustrating, and annoying. These are computer teams. So if you're done, you should just have to hit an enter next season button and let the computer teams do their thing. You shouldn't have to deal with this. Nothing, however, and I mean nothing, can compare to the worst part of the game. Okay, so you're ready to play the next season. You have a look at the schedule. No spring training. Pity. Well, the first game's on the last day of March. Let's look at the next month to see who I'll be facing. Only 9 games more until the season ends. And it was at that moment I couldn't take it anymore. I am serious. There are only 10 games in the following season. I don't even know what to say. The games are all against different teams. No series. The All-Star Game and Home Run Derby with no Futures game are on the same day, in the middle of April, and the season ends on the 20th. I thought this was a glitch when I first saw this, but once I played it out, I realized it was for real. This game is an insult to baseball games. It is an insult to baseball. It is an insult to video games. There is no excuse for a game being this bad. It is 2009. We should be done with games like this by now. And what makes it even worse is that I bought this game for $40. Biggest waste of $40 in my life. This game doesn't even deserve to be in a dollar store. It is awful. So amazingly awful, I can't believe how awful it is. Do not buy this game. Whatever you do, do not buy this game. Burn every copy of it that you see. Spread the word. MLB 2K9 is the worst video game ever made.